Hello, Peter Greenlaw here. I'm the founder of the New Health Conversation movement, which I think we sorely need because I don't think that the old one is serving us anymore. I also discovered the TDOS Syndrome, which I want to talk about some today. And it stands for toxicity driven by nutritional deficiency, being overweight and stress, and all those four factors come together to undermine any chance we have to maximize our quality of life potential and to have us control our weight. I've written 4 best-selling books with medical doctors. I've done 1,500 lectures all over the world, appeared 20 times on PBS, and I was interviewed on the 4 biggest daytime shows in America. And I will tell you right away, I am not the expert, but I became an expert on the experts for more than 20 years now. I've worked with some of the top medical doctors, oncologists, molecular biologists, geneticists, and nutraceutical chemists in the entire world. And what they taught me and what they revealed to me is what I want to share with you in the New Health Conversation, because the whole point behind the New Health Conversation is to give you a platform, a real platform, where there's no hype, there's no celebrity endorsements. Everything we're going to present to you is backed 100% by peer-reviewed medical studies, not opinions, okay? Listen, I've written 4 books out with medical doctors, and they agree with me, okay, that something's terribly wrong. There was a great documentary called Escape Fire, strange title. You can get it on HBO now for free, where the head of Medicare, Medicaid, and the head of the Cleveland Clinic said, we must adopt preventative intervention. We have the best doctors, the best surgeons, the best drugs in the world. I'm not against any of that, but we're losing the battle. We got 1 in 3 adults pre-diabetic. We've got 92.3% of the population, according to the CDC, that's metabolic and healthy with 3 of 5 factors: overweight, high blood pressure, high blood sugar, cholesterol, high triglycerides. 92.3% of the population. You've got 80% of America overweight, and 50% of those people are obese. Does anyone really think the old health conversation's working? What's the mantra that we're our road to losing weight and being healthy, et cetera? Calories in, calories out, count your macros. Look, you've got all these diets, okay? And we know the names: Mediterranean, Paleo, Keto, Atkins, Jenny Craig, Weight Watchers, Nutrisystem, Beachbody, intermittent fasting, time-restricted eating, watch your macros, whatever. And yet, the numbers just keep going up. If any of these things work, what would that be happening? So the main question I have for you today is this: is your food doing something for you, or is your food doing something to you? That's a really important point. What I want to focus on today is deficiency. And what do I mean by deficiency? There are 2 primary things we're the most deficient in that do the most harm in our body. One are minerals. You've all heard of iron, calcium, magnesium. Did you know that we need about 70 what are called trace ionic minerals, okay? That includes things, believe it or not, gold, silver, zinc, beryllium, boron, molybdenum. There's a whole list, okay? And again, not my opinion, but in studies where they've analyzed the food, they said, for example, in the best organic, you get between 15 and 20 minerals out of 70. Now, what do minerals do? Minerals are called the spark plugs of life because they power all the enzymes in our body. And enzymes are really the workhorses. They do everything from delivering nutrients and oxygen and all kinds of things in our body. They also get rid of toxins in the body. They do all these wonderful things. If the fuel for the enzyme, which we're relying on to make us healthier, and you think that you can work with 15 instead, see, this is what's happening to us. We're settling for a less than lifestyle because we don't know what else to do. We're doing everything right. Do I eat organic? Of course, but not for the reason you would think. Not because it's more nutritious, not because I say so, because 200 studies, they said it's a little bit better nutritionally than just regular food, but it's less polluted. And that's something you should really consider, because the toxins, as we drink them, as we breathe them, as we eat them, our body's only defense, not the immune system, can't deal with herbicides and pesticides and Scotchgard and Teflon. And now we're literally finding microplastic in our lungs and our blood. How bad does it have to get before we say, whoa, maybe we should take a new look at things? Because of the old health conversation, and in fairness to them, it wasn't until 2006, Mount Sinai Medical School did a study in New York, and we found out we were storing toxins in our bodies. Isn't that amazing? Really? All that time, no one had ever even looked at it? Now they're really looking at it. The average adult, if you're watching this, not to scare you, but you have probably between 1,000 and 2,000 chemicals embedded in what's called your visceral fat, okay? So you got the outer layer of fat that's called adipose, but the underlying, the really hard fat that's called visceral, that surrounds the organs. It's really the last line of defense. Ironically, when the toxins, when you breathe it, when you drink it, when you eat it, when you put it on your skin, the body takes the toxin because the immune system can't deal with it. The liver doesn't want any parts of what the liver's now doing. We're creating 100 million Americans that have non-alcoholic fatty liver disease because the liver now is using fat to, it can't filter out all this stuff. So then it farms it on the rest of the body, and the body takes it and stuffs it inside the visceral fat that no diet's ever been proven to reduce the visceral fat. So there's so many misconceptions literally around food. And here's another thing that I learned from the experts. See, food is not calories because, number one, the body doesn't even know what calorie is, doesn't care about calories. It only cares about nutritional density. So we're lost our way as this whole argument about calories in, calories out, that's how you lose weight. That's actually been debunked. That actually doesn't work, okay? Because when you reduce the calorie, what they don't tell you, and you can definitely lose weight on diet. Don't hear me say that. I don't want anybody to, Chris, he said you can't lose weight on a diet. That's bull. I never said that. But I will promise you what the experts proven now is it's the wrong kind of weight because diets don't discriminate from where you lose the weight. And where do you lose the weight? From your muscles. And why would that be? Because the muscle is the most nutrient-dense source of nutrition in our entire body. And when you lower the calories, you lower the nutrition, the body has to go and find more nutrition. Where does it go? For your muscles. And what happens as a result of losing lean muscle mass? It slows your metabolism down. That's why people come on and say, I just did a 5-day water fast, or I did 2 weeks of water fast. Congratulations, I'm sure you lost some weight. Watch how fast it comes back. And what did you lose? Did you analyze your visceral fat? I doubt it. Did you look at your muscle mass? I doubt it. The studies refute all these claims that these people are making. With all due respect, medical doctors, nutritionists, dietitians, workout people, or just people in general that give you your opinion. I did a 5-day. Maybe it felt great, wonderful, but where's the science? What did you really do in the long run to yourself by doing that? Haven't you seen the pictures of the people that have had gastric bypass? They lose 100, 150 pounds and then need a $50,000 surgery because their stomach's hanging down to their knees because what did they lose? Lean muscle mass. And ask them about their energy levels and all the other things that go along with it. The point is that food is genetic information that the genes use to reproduce. So I'll give another big fallacy. People talk about ingesting protein. I heard of fitness, I've had several fitness people come out and said, you need a gram of protein for every pound you weigh. And the reason for that is because protein is the only way you can get the other thing that's critical to a human being into your body, and those are the amino acids. There's 20 of them. They're not in fats, they're not in carbohydrates, they're only in protein. So I used to be an athlete. I actually tried out for the Olympics a long time ago, and I could go to training table. I get as much protein as I wanted. What no one ever taught me until very recently, there was a study, not a study, but a new process in Europe that they developed where they can measure when you ingest any protein from a plant or an animal, what percentage of those 20 amino acids are absorbed at your gene level. And that's the only thing that matters. It's not what you eat or drink, it's what you absorb. And this is especially true. Protein itself, believe it or not, is a toxic substance to our body if it comes from a plant or an animal. But yet we can't live without it because it's the shell. It carries the amino acids in the body. Then the body breaks open the protein and extracts those 20 amino acids, and they put together these long, they're called branch chain amino acids, just mean the 20 are rearranged in these long chains. But what the body has to do, it has to take them, rearrange them so the genes can read the codes. Because the order in which they come from a plant or an animal, the gene can't read it. We have 22,000 genes. We make 22,000 different proteins. Do you think maybe that's important? What percentage of 100% of those aminos you would get to have your genes make us over? Would it shock you to know that, and I don't mean to make my vegan friends crazy, but I do, but I'm just reporting the science, okay? If you took a single vegetable protein, like a pea protein, a rice protein, chia seeds, whatever, the maximum absorption is around 10%. All animal proteins are higher. They're 30%. That could be chicken, liver, grass-fed beef, swordfish. I don't care what it is. It's about 30%. The highest is an egg at 40%, okay? In the clinical studies, they found a particular, what's called an undenatured whey protein shake that came from New Zealand, where the absorption of the amino acids with a special preparation that the scientists determined was 90%, 90. Huh. Wow. And all the whey protein, the casein protein, the milk protein was totally gone, and it lowered the sugar by almost 30%. This is why it works so well. Because in the clinical studies that they did, They had 80% women, 20% men. No one was allowed to exercise, and yet people gained 6 to 8% lean muscle mass in just 30 days with no exercise. And they're not against exercise, but in the studies, they wanted to make sure that exercise wasn't an outlier. So again, what you think you're putting in your body, and I'm not saying that organic is not nutritious, but lacking in the minerals and certainly lacking in the absorption of the amino acids, which are the building blocks of life. In closing, you're going to remake the lining, me and all of us are going to basically remake the lining of our stomach twice this month. We're going to create our liver, 2 new livers this year. And about once every 7 years, almost every 7 cell in our body is going to turn over. That doesn't happen with fats. It doesn't happen with carbohydrates. It doesn't happen with protein itself. It happens only with those 20 amino acids. So again, I'll ask you at the end, is your food doing something for you or is it doing something to you? Because if you're consuming food that's nutritionally bankrupt, okay? There are estimates, for example, that an orange from 30 years ago to equal the nutrition, you'd have to eat about 6 to 8 oranges, about a dozen apples. And Cornell University did a study on spinach from 1953 to like year 2000. They say that iron levels in spinach decreased by 43. Unless you have a source to give you all 70 minerals and a way to get 90% amino acids, certainly your food's doing, you can't live without food. But again, it'd be like, imagine if you could go to a gas station and buy gas and you got 100 miles to the gallon instead of 20. That's the principle here. So instead of relying on the old model where we were looking at calories, actually that's where our food is today. It's calorie dense and nutritionally bankrupt. Imagine that now you have something that's the opposite. It's nutritionally dense and calorically bankrupt, and it's exactly what you want. So I hope this has been helpful, and we'll be continuing to do more of this. So follow, share our TikTok, and go to our website for free, R2M protocol.com, R2protocol.com, and see the clinical studies, these new peer-reviewed studies where people honestly are losing as much weight safely in 4 days as in 8 weeks of any diet. As crazy as that may seem, go and prove it yourself. There's no celebrity endorsements. There's no advertisements. It's just the science. But I think you at least have, maybe you owe it to yourself to go and find out the real truth and find out what really could change the rest of your life. And your food could really be doing something for you instead of doing something to you.